Hey, folks. So, Shadowrunning. Oh, as you might have noticed, I did kind of redo the layout. I don't know if I did this last time, but basically, yeah, the whole game is going to be that left side there, and then the chat will be underneath if anyone's here. Honestly, I think a lot of people are going to be doing very important stuff, and I'm not going to lie, this is kind of a more kind of for me than for chat. If any chat folks are here, um, that's great. But mainly, yeah, it's this is kind of my way of helping my brain from the world. Anyways, so let us get into it. Actually, all right. So starting. Also, if you have not yet, there is a super good deal for Metro on GOG, the whole series, like $30. So if you haven't gotten Metro yet, like I don't know how long that deal's lasting. Today is, oh my gosh, it's June already. I was about to say May 2nd. June 2nd, so now's your time. Metro's really I like the stories and stuff, so. Alright, let's hit play. And hopefully the resolution stays from when I fixed it. I tested this out a couple days ago. Headphones. There. Okay. Okay, so first off, that was so loud I couldn't even hear myself talk, at least in my earphones. But anyways. Okay. Spend your karma wisely. A jack of all trades is a master of none. So, basically, last session we were a good runner. No one got killed, no shots fired. Everything went perfectly, and we got a new member to the team. A ghoul samurai, who is pretty much one of my faves. So, alright, let me go here. Let me do this. And okay. Alright. So we have this because, again, we got our new guy. So either, a Gaichu, red samurai. And basically the reason why it's armor-minus 2 is if you fight him as a bad guy, he's like super pumped up. But now that he's on our team, you gotta make him like a normal player character level. So anyway, so we can either level up his ghoul sense, which is he gains a claw ability, does 2 damage and 2 bleeding, or active defense. He gains a ability that adds +2 armor and +1 dodge. That's just, I almost always go this just because he's already super good at swords. He doesn't need another ability that does 2 bleeding damage a turn. Just, that's enough. So, alright. So, probably our go-to team, because this is all the people that we'll get for the game. Outside of, like, if we wanted to hire random people. So, it's probably going to be Duncan, Isabel, and Gaichu. Like, I really like him as a rigger, and I'm sad that we don't have a Decker rigger, because they're under the same, attribute intelligence, but because yeah, if we were the Decker, then basically we take these two out, and then it's just that's your team, Gobbet, Duncan, Gaichu, and you got everything covered. But yeah, I do like him because if there's any drone stuff, we got that. I do like Isabel because if there's any decking to be done, then she's our decker. But then it leaves, and I'm the mage, so we don't need Gobbet, even though she's kind of the most fun character-wise. But I do like Duncan if we need ranged, Gaichu for another melee kind of person. So, you know, we might just see how it works next run. We'll take me and Gaichu and then them two, and we'll see what happens. So, anyways, let us go back here. And I think everyone's going to be like, we don't need to talk too much. Actually, yeah, we'll go ahead and bunk and go to sleep. You wake with a start, your limbs bound up in a sweaty tangle of linen bedsheets. An incredible sorrow swells in your chest. You feel empty, half-starved, and alone. Fragmentary memories of a half-remembered dream float through your mind. They're already fading away to nothing. Let's chase those memories down. You close your eyes and concentrate, willing yourself to keep the dream from slipping away. Gradually, the memory comes back to you. The walled city. You were back in the walled city, yeah. You don't remember how you got there, but it couldn't have been anyplace else. Even the barrens weren't so squalid. You remember craning your neck to look above you. The buildings that made up this part of the walled city were new construction, even cheaper than the old. Now their foundations had rotted out from under them, and the buildings leaned into one another like a gang of drunken men. Rain of plaster and asbestos sprinkled down, dusting your shoulders. You begin to creep forward, picking your way past the piles of refuse and debris, past the pimps and dumpster fires, broken glass and the dirty needles. The air reeked of rot and sewage and industrial waste, a disgusting melange that caught in your sinuses and crawled down your throat. You gagged on the stink, but it didn't slow you down. In the back of your mind, you knew that you had no reason to be doing this. There's nothing for you in the walled city. You shouldn't have even been there. But the rest of you was hungry, unbearably, indescribably hungry. And that part of you knew that if you keep moving, you'd finally get to eat. As you forced your way deeper into the walled city, locals stood at their windows and stared. Inexplicably, some of them dropped to their knees. You kept moving. You could see something in the distance, a silhouette, something enormous, at least twice the size of yourself, because I am a troll. But delicate. It was beautiful. The huge figure beckoned you, gesturing with slender limb. An explosion of warmth filled your chest, and you knew that if only you could reach it, your problems would be over. She would make all your sorrows disappear. You moved forward at a crawl, but the figure felt impossibly far away. You reached out, calling to her, and then you woke up. The empty feeling in your stomach slowly fades, taking the strength and vibrance of the memories along with it. So, yeah. That's how that went. Alright, and I think most of these people are going to say nothing to talk about. Oh. You enter Wu's cabin and find him moving through some sort of stretching routine. His muscles ripple as he flows tranquility from one pose to the next. You look different, Pod. I look older, right? Yeah, like I flipped forward a few chapters instead of turning a page. I mean, it looked like you, just not the you I knew. I get it, you're you too, just a lot leaner. Wood looks down at his torso, chuckles. Yeah, remember how Lockjaw used to make fun of my gut? He used to call me Dunkin' Donut. I guess I got tired of that whole running out of energy walking upstairs thing. Plus, I needed to slim down to get into the academy. Once I got off my ass and started exercises, really exercising, found out that I loved it. That's the focus, I guess. I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to talk to anyone. All I have to do is concentrate on my form and count my reps. Jeez, it was only that easy for me. Anyways, And no matter what happens after that, I've started my day by accomplishing something. So what about you? How are you doing?
Same as always.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. You're different, Pod. You've grown and you're good at running the screw too, but there's something I still don't completely understand. He picks up an ammo box and begins using it like a dumbbell. What do you get out of being a Shadowrunner? Hmm. You know what? Freedom.
Freedom, not a cog in the corporate machine.
Sure you're not. Come on, Pod, think. Of course you're a cog. Everyone's a cog. Whether you're working for them, consuming their crap, getting brainwashed by news media that they control, voting for the people that they put in front of you, or being policed by people that they own, you're a cog. And you're the lowest kind of cog. A Shadowrunner. A disposable asset. Sinless. Slithering through the cracks of society, doing jobs that are too dirty for the corps to do themselves. You don't even appear on a corporate balance sheet.
Yeah. Runners can be more than that. They can move their own agenda. Fight the power.
I never heard a story where a Shadowrunner did something other than kill someone, steal something, or perpetuate some other sort of shady shit. But good luck with that. Who watches you, waiting for you to say something.
You thinking about getting chromed up?
With Cyber? Oh my god, how many times are you gonna ask me that?
Oh, at least a couple dozen more times. You always have the best reactions.
Wu grins, his teeth are blindingly white. I don't know why the game keeps saying his teeth are super white, his teeth are perfect. It's like, what's your fixation on teeth, game? Not a vampire, right? Or a vampire. I told you one time I was thinking about it when I was 13. Let it go. I'm not gonna pollute my body with that shit. You? I'm a mage. Remember? Chrome and magic go together like crude oil and peanut butter. Yeah, I guess you got a point there. That's a good thing, by the way. Better keep yourself whole and in touch with the world around you. I may not have magic, but I know that's true.
What'd you think about that last run?
I don't know. Pod, I've had enough goals for one lifetime. Barons are full of them. Remember what the 162s did to that Atzlanter family that lived by the Old Town Center? Remember how we found them?
It's not the kind of thing you forget. Tooth marks and the bones and all that.
Face goes white as a sheet. Yeah, made my stomach turn. Nobody deserves to go out like that. Oh no, Pod, I don't think I'll ever get comfortable with having a ghoul on our crew. Made sense to keep those elders alive, by the way. Good call. We don't know anyone in this country. It seems wise to try and get some allies. Anyway, enough about that. Need anything else?
Well, about time I talk about you and me.
Rests his eyes on you for a moment, his face neutral. Yeah, I guess now's as good a time as any. You start. Sorry, excuse me.
You're not acting like the Duncan Wu that I grew up with. What made you decide to become a cop?
I needed structure. Bad. You know that better than anyone. I was already hardcore when we met. Mr. Ultraviolence. I'd do anything to get a rise out of the guys I was rolling with. Gouging eyes, inverting knees, courage slapping. That shit got me cheers. I was like a pit fighter, bloodletting for the crowd, and I learned to enjoy it. I never learned how to block out the memories of their screens when I was lying in bed at night. The guilt started eating me alive, and then I was scared to be alone with my thoughts. So I tried to drown them out with all the things that you drown things out with.
You never told me that before. You seemed to have it under control when we were together.
It's funny how people remember things. Yeah, when we squatted together and later, when we were living with Ray, I was still a violent son of a bitch, but basically under control. But that was you, Slane. You're the voice of reason. Brains.
That sounds about right.
Of course it does. When we ran the streets together, I was the muscle and you called the shots. You pointed and I hit. I mean, I'm sure I did a little bit of hitting too, you know. But later, after Ray got me some counseling, I realized that I let you call the shots so that I wouldn't have to. Because I knew that what I wanted was wrong. By following your lead, I was deflecting my own guilt onto you. It was your decision, not mine. I could just knock heads and walk away clean, you know. Don't look at me, I'm just doing what I'm told. And then you left. Without you there, I knew that I was in serious trouble. Poster boy for anger management issues. Raymond could provide a stable environment, a decent therapist, and money for prescriptions, but you know Raymond. He's an egghead engineer with a philanthropic streak, not a drill sergeant. And a drill sergeant was what I needed. I needed structure and discipline in a way that he couldn't offer me. I needed a cage to keep myself in line. So I made myself a cage made of rules and procedures and training. Lone Star. Raymond helped me with my application and provided a decent character reference. I got in and it helped a lot. Lone Star got me where I needed to be. And now it's all gone and you're back.
Seems like Carter's death hit you pretty hard.
Yeah, she was a good one. We were a real team. Joining Lone Star helped me in all sorts of important ways, no doubt about it. I really embraced being a cop. I studied my ass off. But no matter how hard I worked, I was never more than a model cop with a brutal streak. There were plenty of assignments that were perfect for a big, mean orc like me. Assignments that would have fed my need to hurt people. But I met Carter about a year in and she changed things. She talked about values and goals and priorities and constructing the life that you want to live. She was her real trip.
Sounds like a good woman.
She was a cop, a partner, a mentor, and a serious badass when she needed to be, but yeah, she was a good person too. She kept me focused. When Raymond asked me to beat him in Hong Kong, I had a feeling I was going to wind up going off the reservation if I didn't bring Carter along, and now she's gone and here I am.
Might be time to stop looking for someone to hold your leash, Duncan.
Man, I wish you put that a different way, Pod, but I get what you're saying. I don't want to be anyone's attack dog anymore. Wu folds his arm across his chest and nods to himself, satisfied.
You've been waiting a long time to ask me about the night I left, haven't you?
I guess I have, yeah. It's about what you were doing before I got thrown into that corp facility. You said you had a friend who was in a bind, but that was all you could say. How'd it go?
Let's just say we're not friends anymore and leave it at that.
Whatever you say, Pod.
Did you ever think about when we were kids?
Begin to move through some sort of pattern. Might be Tai Chi. I try not to. What are you talking about exactly?
The old gang, Lockjaw, Double Tray, those guys.
You realize that old gang you're talking about were teenagers, right? Younger than Gobbet. Man, they felt so old back then. But Lockjaw couldn't have been more than 17 tops. And Double Tray was only 13 when... Why were you thinking of them?
It's the clarity of that.
No.
I was just thinking about that thing DT used to say.
Rue returns to his patterns. He manipulates an imaginary soap bubble between his hands. Improvise, adapt, overcome. That's how you beat the street. I remember Double Tray saying that. It's while we were living between the Red Hot Newts and the 162s. Crazy ass dwarf anarchists on one side and flesh-eating ghouls on the other. Those are the days that you long for?
Long for? No. I was just thinking that it's the same now as it was back then.
His raspy baritone fills the space between you, bridges it. Survive and watch each other's back. Yeah, I know. Let's talk later. Yeah, later would be good. Don't get me wrong, catching up is nice, but I'm not used to being as social as this. It's one of the reasons why it was so nice to work under Carter. We both appreciated long silences.
I'll clear out then. Give you your personal space.
Thanks, I'll bask in it. And, good talk, Pod. Catch up with you later. Alright, yeah. So I don't think after every mission, but after some missions, we do need to kind of go back and move forward everyone's kind of plot story, because you'll eventually get like a plot mission with them and get extra karma and stuff for doing it, and upgrade them as well. So yeah. Sorry. Isabel's jacked into the octopus. Her body sits inert, her breathing shallow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello down there. It's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, outline scintillating in blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease.
You really feel at home in the Matrix, don't you? You look happy in there.
I suppose that I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be whoever I want to be. Whatever I want to be. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. After it offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live in here if I could.
I've heard about Deckers who've tried it. Never turned out well. Dehydration is a bad way to go.
I know, and of course I was joking. But truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there, wishing I was back in here. If you were a Decker, you'd feel the same. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it is to leave your body behind.
Nice avatar, by the way. That's a good look on you.
Isn't it? I've spent months customizing this avatar. Excuse me. I've spent months customizing this avatar. She feels more real to me than my own skin. She pauses for a moment, considering, and her avatar shimmers forward, filling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Slane, I've been thinking about the question you asked me a little while back, the one about the walled city. The one that I dodged.
Yeah, I remember.
Look, I wasn't trying to cheat you out of your answer. I want you to know that. It's just, talking about the walled city is problematic for me.
I understand. I grew up in the Barrens. I know how hard it can be to talk about this kind of stuff.
No, it isn't that. I'm not explaining myself clearly. It isn't that I'm tortured by bad memories or anything like that. The problem is that I can't remember my childhood. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life, is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you general information about life on the inside, but the specifics of my own experience are gone.
Gone? What do you mean, gone? Do you have amnesia or something like that?
Something like that. Avatar fidgets on the screen. There are a variety of factors in play. The upshot of all this is that there are things I can tell you, but only a few and in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, and we can talk. Just say the word. Otherwise, well, at least now you know why.
How'd you lose your childhood memories?
Isabel, after her frowns, I'd rather not go into it. It's personal. Suffice it to say that I've never missed them, at least not until now.
That wasn't an answer. What happened to you?
She looks away. Nothing that I didn't ask for. Now please, drop it.
Give me what you can about the walled city at this point. Oh, give me what you can about the walled city. Period. At this point, comma. Anything would help. Period.
Alright. Avatar licks its lips and nods. I can do that. As Will's Avatar's turns begin to paste on the screen. Where she steps, spiderwebs of light spread out along across the tile ground of the octopus's sculpted matrix hub. When I think of the walled city, the thing that stands out the most in my mind is the legends, the mythology of the place. If I hadn't lived with them, I might have found those stories fascinating. The scintillating figure turns to you on the screen. Did you know that Kowloon Walled City is supposed to be cursed? That's what the locals believe. We had ghost stories and everything. Oh man, I am so sorry. Caffeine is a thing.
Ghost stories?
The Isabel Avatar nods. Our own homegrown legends about things that haunted the walled city. Demons from another place. The Yama Kings. Yama Kings, you say? Derived from the mythological judge of the dead, I presume? That was where they came from, yeah. But the Yama Kings that we told stories about were their own things. Bastardizations of the original myths. It'd probably be easier to think of them like Earthbend legends. Our own little pantheon of monsters and morality tales. The stories are still clear in my mind, even after everything that happened. Everyone in Walled City believed them. You can get out of the Walled City if you make a deal with Fu Mang. Cut the hearts from the 44 people closest to you and bring them to him. He will reward you with riches. Jeez, 44 people closest to me. That would be, for me, that'd be like, man, trip all over the world. Don't go under that arch or Kwanya will catch you. Kwanya? Chanya? Butchering pronunciation is my game. The Avatar grabs at the air, its hands leaving glowing trails as they move. She'll rip out your teeth, tie your tongue in a knot, and make you her slave for eternity. We had Shung, our own homegrown judge of the souls. He would let themselves be flayed alive in hopes that he'd reawaken them in a better life. And we had Lam Yi, the Ebony Queen, who would teach you to hide so well that you'd slowly mutate into a cockroach. Ugh. Avatar cocks its head, smirking. A dismissive gesture. It's all bullshit, of course, but everybody in the walled city believed it.
If you're so convinced that these things are myths, why does everyone in the walled city believe in them?
Because they're an excuse. My parents and neighbors, their whole generation, invented things to explain away their own failings. I can't get ahead because demons are keeping me down. Woe is me, woe is me. It's almost embarrassingly transparent when you really look at it. Lam V turning people into cockroaches, it's just a Kafka-esque trope layered onto a morality tale. Xiu Sheng, he's just a Anubis with a different coat of paint. And you know that archway that I mentioned? The one that Chiya was supposed to haunt? I knew someone who found it. There was nothing on the other side but concrete. It's all superstitious drivel slaying. The misery in the walled city isn't the fault of demons or devils. We created it, and we perpetuate it. We blame made-up monsters for our own failings. There's nothing more pathetic than that.
What about those shared dreams? How do you explain those away?
I don't know, mass psychosis, or maybe something magical is going on, but it isn't them. They aren't real. They can't be. Anyway, that's enough for now, huh? I'm sure that gives you plenty to chew on. My obligation to give you an answer is satisfied, I think. So let's talk about something else.
Any thoughts about that last run?
She shakes her head. Nope, sorry. Jacking into the octopus is how I relax after a long day of work. Some people go into sports or strip bars. I do this. As a rule, I don't spoil my leisure time with shop talk.
Hey, if that's the way you feel.
It is, so if you wouldn't mind changing the subject. Long silences are a common thing here.
Can you think of anything else at all that might help us?
I don't know, maybe. I'll put some thought into it. After pauses, turns away. After a moment, Isabel's voice pours through the Tridio's speakers. On second thought, I do have an idea. Are you open to taking on more work?
Of course, kindly sending me new job offers all the time.
This wouldn't be work for Auntie Chang. Think of it as a side gig that you'd be doing for me. I think I've got a line on some software that could help us. I can't get to it on my own, though. It's a two-person job at least.
What kind of software?
It's kind of hard to explain. It'd be easier for me to just show you, but trust me, it'll help. I have run all planned out already. I've done the legwork, I know the location, I know the target. Just say the word and I'll send everything I have to your mission computer. You can look it over, weigh it, and decide what you want to do.
Alright, deal. Send the file.
Visible Avatar closes his eyes for a moment, then opens them with a smile. Done. You'll find the pertinent documents waiting in your inbox. If you decide to accept the mission, just check the box in the message documentation. It'll ping my comlink automatically.
Alright, can't wait to find out what this is all about.
I'm sure that the briefing I sent you will satisfy your curiosity. Trust me, Slane. This is a good job with a solid plan behind it. You'll see as soon as you've read it. And speaking of which, you should go do that now.
When I get around to it, I will.
Alright, but don't keep me waiting too long. Now, is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Gotta go, Is.
Sure, drop by anytime. Alright, and then Gobbet. Hello, Gobster. She looks up from a dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Her rats, madness and folly, skirt from her hips up to her shoulders. Two sets of beady red eyes fix themselves on you. Hey, Seattle. Oyster? She spears a gray lump of seafood with a fingernail and extends it to you. It smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Oh.
You trying to kill me?
She looks hurt. Kill you? I'm offering you a gift. A gift of friendship. Gabbett waggles her finger under your nose. The oyster clings to her nail like a wad of chewing gum. Come on, eat the oyster.
Sure, why not?
You pop the rubbery wad of flesh into your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Good, right? Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving that Baron's dance and merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat.
I've eaten worse.
Exactly right. It might not be fine dining, but it's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. That makes it good in my book. She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and flicks it onto the overflowing bin at her side. So, what can I do for you?
You know, Hole is a pretty mediocre name for a ship. Ever considered changing it?
Yeah, sure, I've considered it a bunch of times. I never really cared enough to actually do it, though. You want to color something else? I'm open to it. Big Texas, no way. Yeah.
The Revenge feels appropriate.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so yeah. The Revenge it is. Yeah, that feels right.
Anyways, so, how do you like life here on The Revenge?
It's fine, shaping up. Having new roommates is always nice. How are you enjoying your cabin? Comfy enough for you?
It isn't half bad. It's better than some of the places I squatted in back in the Barrens.
I've heard stories about the Redmond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Kowloon isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safe.
That is true. It's handy having a mob boss on our side.
Yeah, handy. Ani Ching is definitely that. I don't know if I'd say she's on our side, though.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Of course you do. Let's change the subject, huh? I'm not thinking about the old woman right now.
thoughts about that last run?
You didn't bring me on the last run, so no, don't have much to say. Nice to have a night off, I guess. Uh, that's interesting. Oh well. Yeah, she's not gonna have much to say pretty much the whole game. I don't think I'm gonna bring her on anything, but
So you said you teach me gotta be a better Shadowrunner. I'm here to collect.
yeah, still remember that, do you? Huh? Sort of just assumed you'd laugh that thing off.
No dice, Wyson mentor. You offered, now pay up.
Okay, how about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gone bad. You tell me what you would have done in the runner's place, then we'll compare notes and your answer. How's that sound?
Works for me, I guess.
She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back of her one pointed ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lips and nods. Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was part of a team here in Hong Kong. I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Macau. I was a busy kid.
Early in your career, so you were, what, like 12 years old?
You say that like I couldn't have been. When I was 12, I could have destroyed you. Really? Really? Okay. Also, I was 16, practically an adult in our years. We grew up fast. Anyway, the job was hit on this tower, sort of a TRID multiplex / apartment complex. I'm sure they got them in Seattle too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top like barnacles on a whale.
I lived in one for a while. Every time they showed an action movie, the walls would shake.
Yeah, that'll happen. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. The story was that an ex of hers, a guy named Boggs, lived there. She'd been cooped up with him until a week prior, and things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kept her out. Scare the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like robbery. You know the drill.
Sounds more like a job for thrill gangers than full-fledged Shadowrunners.
Yeah, it was a pretty bush league gig, but it was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you turn down. So anyway, Sibilance, that was our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the HKPA. If we'd gone in shooting, we'd been drowning in costs within 10 minutes. Sib thought we could take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Boggs' door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling and start raining plaster, then... Oh, sorry. Yeah, just switching where the laptop is. Sorry about that. We camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, then smash our way in with his neighbors none the wiser. This sounds kind of familiar. Yeah, it's pretty close to what John Wilkes Booth did when he assassinated Lincoln. Sid was an amateur historian. He used to bore the rest of us to tears, but I guess that could occasionally come in handy. So we waited in the hall just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy in the elevator, another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sid took up a position by the door. She had these cyber legs that she dumped a ton of Nuyen into. Hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Go could probably leg press a dump truck. She paused for a moment. Come to think of it, most of her plans involved kicking things. Huh. There's something a little sad about that.
And this woman was the best suited to lead this particular group of runners?
Tragically, yes. Everyone else was various shades of amoral or screwed in the head. Sibilance might have had a tendency to solve all of her problems the same way, but she was better than the alternatives. Anyway, we heard a boom from downstairs, felt the walls shake with a reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick, just like she planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. I could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into Duraplast. Door flew off its hinges. It exploded off might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There's a moment of silence. Then Sid let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. It looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed. Everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember that this was a coffin apartment. It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, well, what was left of him was under the door, too.
Well, you got the rough 'em up part right.
Yeah, fortunately, he wound up a lot rougher than he was supposed to. Door really did a number on him. Ribs sticking out of the skin, that kind of thing. It was a bloody mess. So yeah, Boggs was dead. Stuff we'd been sent to the apartment to cover had been smashed to bits. And then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday is smashed. My temporary teammates are all staying around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming. I'm standing by the kitchen. What would you have done in my place? Yeah, not fighting the cops. Yeah, I'm not gonna say subcontracting either. You know what? Let's do this.
I tried to improvise. Was there anything in the kitchen you could use to resolve the situation?
Good thinking. As it happens, there was, and I knew just what to do with it. Thought popped into my head, and I just went with it. There's a lesson to remember, Seattle. The first answer you come to is almost always the best one you're going to have, so just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself, don't hesitate, just act. You'll live longer that way.
Got it.
Now, when I think crowded theater, I think place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought, cops don't charge into burning buildings, they help people get out of them. As it happened, I had the means to create real, genuine fire sitting right across from me. A pair of industrial ovens.
You set the building on fire?
I encouraged it to burn, opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and motored back into the hallway. Others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down to the lobby. We had to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the whole floor out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to really want anything to do with me. I shot back to the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people in that multiplex. My fire plan worked perfectly. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer that they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me.
How?
Well, I couldn't collect any pay because the run had been a disaster. But after the explosion, I got to ride in front of the fire truck, and they gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. All things considered, it could have gone a lot worse. God claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face. So, Seattle. The laughter disappears from her voice, and the expression goes serious. It's like someone flipped a switch. Suddenly, the look in her eyes is shrewd, calculating. Tell me, what was the moral of this story? What was the lesson I was trying to convey? I mean, one isn't obvious. You should never go do that. And three is also quite obvious, in my opinion. Maybe a little too real for that. But anyway, so
Go with your gut, I guess?
That's right. Trust your impulses and don't be afraid to wing it. Almost any action is better than no action at all. Once you've committed to doing something, you've got to follow it through, though. No arguing and hand-wringing. Just do it. If you get caught up in your own head, agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it.
So, are you certain that siblings and rest of the Macau team are dead?
She shrugs. They weren't with me when I got evacuated with the rest of the moviegoers. I never saw them leave the building, and I haven't heard from them since. I guess it's possible that somebody made it, but I don't really run into those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anyone from the Macau team did survive, they'll have died off now by sheer incompetence. Shadowrun is an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes.
Did any of that stuff in the story actually happen, or did you just make it up for my benefit?
Seattle, I'm hurt. It all went down exactly like I said it did. Well, except for a couple embellishments here and there. They make a better story, artistic license and all that. Gobbett leans back and stifles yawn. Madness and Volley drive to the left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but I am beat. It's been a long day. Lesson's over for now. We'll pick it up, back up next time.
Watch who you're calling kiddo. I'm older than you are.
Yeah, whatever. Scurry along. Your mentor needs a rest. Alright. Yeah, Gobbett is probably my favorite character, but yeah, she's just not going to be coming with us on any of these runs because I'm basically covering anything that she would do with my magical skills. So, Ractor, anything to say? Ractor's shop is sweltering hot, even more so than the first time you stepped inside. The whir of actuators accompanies the fine motions of the manipulator arms that hang from the ceiling. They are turning an object over and over in their articulated hands, soldering wires and hammering rivets. Ah, my friend, welcome back. Ractor types the serious commands into his bracer and arms relax into an idle posture. He smiles at you, a cigarette dangling from his lips. There, that's better. Now, what can I do for you?
How are you getting along with the other members of the team?
Perfectly well, thank you. They all seem competent enough, and there haven't been any major personality conflicts so far. So long as they continue performing to an acceptable standard, I can see no reason not to continue our arrangement. It's good to run with the team again.
Sure, alright, but what do you think of them personally?
They are fine, I suppose, all fine. Gobbett is quite charming, Isabel keeps to herself, and Duncan is doing his best in a bad situation. Gaichu is quite intriguing, though. I'm very pleased that the team was willing to overlook his unfortunate condition. Many shadows wouldn't be. And that, I'm afraid, is all I have to say. Apologies if you're looking for more.
Any thoughts on that last run?
The Wanpoans may be a socially maladjusted group, but I find their philosophies quite compelling. I suspect that there is a fair amount of overlap between their vision of the future and my own. Your decision to spare their elders was a fortuitous one. I look forward to communicating with them at length about their belief system and the steps that they're taking in accordance with it. Something to look forward to, I suppose. Now, what else would you have of me?
You're still something of a mystery to the group, Ractor. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
No, I don't mind at all. Takes a drag on his cigarette and slowly releases the smoke. I can't promise that my answers will satisfy your curiosity, of course, but you may certainly ask.
What was it like growing up in the Russian Republic?
Tumultuous, as you might expect. You probably aren't old enough to remember the Euro Wars, but I am.
I know bits and pieces of the history, but I didn't live through it.
Well, the wars were formative experiences for Russians of my generation. Not dramatic per se, certainly not as they were for the Germans, Finns, and Poles, but important nonetheless. My country was an instigator of the first Euro War back in '30. I remember the rhetoric, the hardships of living under a wartime economy, the rampant xenophobia that took hold. In some ways, this game is getting real. Anyways. I remember how I was getting to my slang voice. I remember how we all cheered when our forces invaded Poland. 3 months, that was all that it took for our military to crush what meager resistance the Poles could bring to bear. It was quite the source of national pride at home. I remember our drive into Germany and the desperate bid to reclaim the eastern portion of that country for ourselves. Just think about the symbolic significance of such an act. An audacious move to be sure, but Secretary Kropotkin was determined to make history.
No. Audacious move. You're talking about the overthrow of a sovereign nation, not a maneuver in a chess game.
He nods. That's right, yes. And the deaths of tens of thousands of people and the destruction of infrastructure in a company of nearly 40 million others. But those are impressive numbers, yes, and they represent a tragedy on a grand scale. But nations at war seldom concern themselves with such things. I believe that Kropurin was more concerned with the opinions of his own people than he was with his place in the history books. And in truth, I cannot fault him for this. The 4 months that the war lasted, he did bring the country together. But alas, the Night Wraith incident put an end to our march and sent our forces into full retreat.
Night Wraith?
British-made fighter bombers with stealth capabilities. Very state-of-the-art, very powerful. At least that's what they were purported to have been. Nobody has ever come forward to accept responsibility for the attack. Regardless of who was behind it, the result was the same. Wave upon wave of bombings that targeted our forces and the Germans alike, coupled with the assassinations of dozens of military leaders, a devastating, synchronized operation, expertly carried out over the course of a single night. At home, viral attacks shut down our power grids. Hundreds of thousands of Russians found themselves without heat or electricity in the dead of winter. Crochet scuttles forward, allows the rigger to rest his hand on the sloping metal of its chassis. Ractor stares at his own deformed reflection in the metal of the drone's body, a sad smile on his face. I remember huddling under a mountain of cheap blankets that my mother piled up on my bed. They did a little bit protect me from the cold, but they were something I could hang on to. Something tangible that I associated with warmth and comfort and home. There, as my body trembled and I watched my breath fast over, a terrible truth descended upon me. We had caused this. We were the villains of the First Euro War. For the first time, I came face to face with what Kropunen's folly had brought us. And there, under that ridiculous heap of rags, I came to realize what would surely come to pass. The world thought us villains, and so they would treat us like villains. We would be pariahs on the international stage, crippled by retributive sanctions. We would never live down the shame. He wipes his hands as if cleaning them. A wry smile spreads across his face. And then the AFA invaded Greece and Spain, sparking off Euro War II. We redeployed our troops to help repel them, and all was made right again.
That easy, huh?
About. We were still regarded with suspicion, of course, but Europe might have fallen if it hadn't been for our help. In essence, we took back our reputation at gunpoint. Not an ideal solution, but it worked. Within the span of 4 months, we Russians had gone from nobodies to a terrible threat to unlikely saviors in the eyes of the Western world. Studying exactly how this happened has taught me a great deal about human psychology and social dynamics. Human psychology. You say that as if you weren't one. Just a figure of speech, my friend, nothing more. Now, shall we talk about something else? Surely there are more interesting and relevant things to discuss.
You mentioned the Second Euro War was sparked by the AFA. Who were they?
Takes a drag on a cigarette. Yes, I suppose you wouldn't know. They were only active for the years surrounding the conflict, after all. The AFA was the Alliance for Allah, serving under Mullah Syed Jazeera, a coalition of right-wing Middle Eastern governments that assembled after the failure, some say sabotage, of the United Islamic Conference. They looked to a weakened Europe and saw an opportunity, one that my country was entirely responsible for creating.
So, the AF... Well, that probably shouldn't have come as a surprise.
You're right, of course. We should have foreseen that weakening Europe's defenses would open the doors to outside aggression. Ultimately, the AFA did what any hawkish power would have done in their position. Given their circumstances, they would have been foolish not to.
Well, I take it you beat them. I mean, I haven't heard of the AFA before, so things kind of ended well for them.
No, my friend, they did not win. The AFA folded in 1937 after Jazeera's assassination. A lucky thing for us, too. The body count could have been a great deal higher. In the years that they were active, the AFA gave us a hell of a fight.
Did you immigrate directly from Russia to Hong Kong?
No, between my years in Nizhny Novgorod and my time here in Hoi, I spent a year in the free city of Berlin. That's where I got my feet wet as a Shadowrunner, you see. I ran with a team of anarchists for a time and learned the ropes of the occupation under their tutelage.
What can you tell me about that team of yours?
A good group of people, disorganized to be sure, but capable. Sadly, we are no longer on the best of terms.
What happened?
An opportunity arose, and I seized it. In so doing, I left Berlin for Hong Kong, and I did so without much advance notice. My absence made life difficult for them, and they blamed me for their hardships.
Shrug. You did what you had to do.
Yes, that's right. While my departure may have caused complication to my former teammates, it wasn't personal. I haven't lost any sleep over my decision. In my position, any of them would have done the same. He looks away, a wistful expression on his face. Koshei scrapes the ground with its forelegs, its sensors firmly fixed on you. Ultimately, I would say that my time in Berlin was quite educational. Different from my earlier life in Russia, to be sure. As I said, the experience was invaluable. Ultimately, though, Hoi is probably better suited to my sensibilities.
How so?
Life in Hong Kong is a bit more structured than it is in Berlin. Things make sense here in a way that the Flux State didn't. Taps a finger on his temple. I have an orderly mind. Everything in its place, neatly labeled and filed away. This approach is what allows me to make sense of the world. To say that the people I knew in Berlin thought differently would be an understatement.
Why did you move from Russia to Berlin?
Held his tongue for a moment, considering. When we first met, I told you I parted ways with the Grecian Aviat Corps under unfortunate circumstances, yes?
You mentioned it.
These same circumstances led me to Berlin. I was wrong that I would not find recourse in Russia. I suppose that there's no sense in being vague. I'll tell you the story if you want to hear it. Oh, more stories. Okay.
Please, lay it on me.
You may remember the self-repair system I mentioned the first time we met. The module that would allow Koshei and any sufficiently equipped drone to repair itself. I told you that my research had been lost. That was not strictly true. It was stolen by a pair of colleagues who I long considered friends. These were researchers from my old lab. They turned against me, stole our work, and, truth, my work, and defected.
They betrayed you, huh?
Yes, driven by desperation, no doubt, and ambition. They had always been fixated on getting out of Russia. Grecian Aviat Corps was a nationalized corporation, and they would never get rich as cogs in a government-controlled machine. In our project, they sought their key to breaking away and earning their fortunes. Never mind the fact that I was opposed to the idea, and so they took what was mine and left me with nothing.
And so you followed them, I take it?
Yes, the two had long spoken about moving to Berlin. Such was true of a great many academics in Russia. My homeland was a bureaucratic dictatorship, you see. There's little personal freedom, and there are many rules to be followed. As you might imagine, the stable anarchy of the Flux State might be an alluring concept of those who live under totalitarian rule. Berlin is much romanticized back home.
Makes sense. If you spent your life tied up in bureaucracy, you could do worse than moving someplace with no rules at all.
Oh, the Flux State has rules, my friend. They aren't codified, but they most certainly exist. Should you ever travel there, you'll want to remember that. But I digress. In the hunt of my traitorous colleagues, Berlin was my only lead, and I decided I would travel there. At best, I would find them, and at worst, it would be a good place to rebuild my life. There's the squeal of tortured metal as Koshei drags his claws over the iron grating that covers the floor. Raptor glances down at the drone and it goes calm. He takes a deep breath and continues. It took me over a year to locate my former friends. It was a long, painstaking search, but I was nothing if not determined. I finally found evidence they used my research as a bargaining chip to secure positions at Ares, and that they were here and ongoing.
And so you came here to Hoi.
I picked up and left the next day. My old team was upset to be sure. Lucky Strike in particular howled for my blood, but I know where my priorities lie. Lucky Strike was actually one of the people you could recruit in the last game. Not part of the main team, but someone you could have on your team if you wanted. And so here I am, and here they are, and soon I will be ready to act. I really must thank you for inviting me onto the team. Your abilities will be invaluable when the time comes to make my move. Assuming, of course, that you'd be willing to help.
Something tells me you weren't surprised when I invited you onto the team. You were waiting for this, weren't you?
I thought that it might go over better if you believed it to be your idea. And it seemed I was right. I am on the team, after all.
Yeah, you are, and you're right. I, for one, would be happy to help you. When you're ready, just say the word.
Thank you, my friend. But this is a discussion for another day. We aren't ready to hit an Ares facility yet, and there's more intelligence to gather before we make our move anyway. When the time comes, I will let you know. So much. Alright.
This stolen research means more to you than money, doesn't it?
Yes, much more. It was my life's work, and it was important. Reducing it to a bargaining chip was a deadly insult, both to me and to all those who would benefit from my work.
I don't think I've seen you get this intense about anything.
Corner of his mouth tilts upward. I suppose that's true. This is a matter that's near to my heart. Indeed, it ties into the guiding philosophy of my life. Tell me, are you familiar with the concept of transhumanism? The transformation of humanity as a species by technological means? Man, I'm so glad I took this etiquette academic. I remember that academic came up a couple times when I picked it. I forgot it came up like all the friggin' time. Anyways. Huxley coined the term in the late 1950s. Yes, I believe. Yes, that's right. The seeds of the idea trace back even further to the 1920s and J.B.S. Haldane, but it was Huxley who popularized it. And now, the transhumanist vision has progressed beyond philosophy. It is fact. Look around you. Cybernetics are a fact of everyday life. The synthesis of man and machine is the crowning achievement of meta-humanity as a people. I believe that we are well on our way to a truly post-human future, one in which the synthesis of man and machine is perfected to the point that the terms become interchangeable. In such a future, the capacity for unlimited self-repair will be indistinguishable from immortality. You can see then why the theft of my research came as such a blow. My former colleagues hadn't just stolen from me. They'd taken my contribution to the future of our species and reduced it to a bargaining chip.
So, when are you planning on killing them?
Soon enough. I'm still narrowing down their location. Ares Asia Holdings has enclaves all over this island, and it went due to raid the wrong one. All will be made right soon enough, though. I am nothing if not a patient man. I can wait. And with that, I'm afraid I'm going to have to bid you good night. I've taken enough of a break for one evening. There's still work to be done, and it'd be lax of me to put it aside any longer.
Say no more. I'll see myself out.
Good night. So even they get tired of talking all the time, eventually. And this originally was empty, but now Gaichu is here. The storage room that functions as Gaichu's cabin is a cramped, overheated mess. Piles of old ship parts share space with tarnished cookware, flats of instant noodles, a collection of cast-off clothes, and reams of diagnostic manuals for obsolete computer hardware. To top it all off, there's barely any light whatsoever. All the bulbs in this room are missing. Gaichu is busily moving boxes around, apparently in an effort to carve out some personal space amid the junk that he shares his cabin with. As you enter, he cocks his head and turns. Welcome to my sanctuary, Slim. I apologize for the lack of light, as I did not need it. Gaba took the bulbs for use elsewhere. Gaichu puts down the box that he's in the process of moving and politely bows his head towards you. How can I be of assistance?
I just wanted to see how you were settling in.
Gaichu rolls his shoulders in a definite shrug. Man looks buried in the dark anyways. Yep. I am among those who can make use of my services and who are not attempted to claim the bounty on my head. Is that not enough for now?
Any thoughts on the last run?
Gaichu shrugs, playing a few times. What do you expect me to say? You've allowed me to live, invited me into your home, or boat if you prefer, and have given me a means to earn my income and use my particular set of talents. I am pleased with this. While I understand your desire to keep the elders alive, preserve whatever good exists between you and the Wimpoans, I worry that such softness sends the wrong message to those in the underworld. There is a time for truth, but there is also time for sending a message. Is there anything else I can do for you?
I need to talk about your condition, being a ghoul.
As you wish. You are my benefactor, and as such, I yield to you. Ask then, and I will do my best to answer.
It seems like your condition has stabilized.
For now it has. I will not suddenly become a ravenous beast looking in the whole of your ship. At least, no more so than I already am. Gaichu bares his teeth in a wry grin, dipping his head a little.
Your armor is heavier than what most Shadowrunners wear, and more distinctive too.
Nitro nods, growling his assent. That is correct. It is the armor worn by the elite soldiers of the Rinraku corporate military, the Red Samurai.
What are the Red Samurai?
Rinraku's military special operations division. The most elite that the corporation has to offer, on par with Ares Firewatch, or... Sorry, 1 second. On par with Ares Firewatch or Tyr Temigir's Ghost. Red Samurai are world-class soldiers assigned to only the most difficult and important missions.
That armor is a rare thing for a Shadowrunner to have, then.
That is true. It is considerably less rare for a Red Samurai to have a suit of it, however, even if he goes rogue.
You were a Red Samurai?
Indeed, for the entirety of my adult life, I was a member of the Rinraku military, specifically the Red Samurai. That changed relatively recently. I feel the reasons are abundantly clear. Hence, I still possess my armor, my sword, my training. They have served me well in both my previous life and in this one.
Why'd you pick the name Gaichu anyways?
It was given to me. That is what the Japanese call ghouls for the most part. I am vermin, a thing shown by polite society to be hunted and slain for a bounty. My old life is gone and seemed as apt a name for the streets as any that I could choose.
I like that attitude. It turns the tables of power.
One does not defeat the enemy solely by strength of arms. One must turn one's own weakness into strength. It is an old and valuable lesson, too often forgotten.
Did you grow up in a corporation?
Yes, in Kaihanshin, the Kyoto Osaka Kobe sprawl. It's less populated than Neo-Tokyo, but not by much. I grew up in East Kobe, where my father was posted in a Renraku complex. Gaichu roots around in a nearby box, running his fingertips over several chips towards sighting on one. He slots it into his PDA, and a trid photo flickers to life in the space between you. He's like a real daredevil, this guy. A young man, obvious Gaichu, leans against a railing which overlooks a sprawling arbor complex of skyscrapers and cranes. His school uniform is ripped, and the beginnings of black eye are forming. Abrasions cover his knuckles, and blood dots his pants. Despite this, he's grinning like he just won the lottery. Vibrant. Fierce.
You look a little beat up.
Ah, that must be on Mount Maya. If I remember right, I gave better than I got in that fight. 3 against 1, but they were out of shape and cocky. I used to cause a lot of trouble when I was in school. My father was constantly raging that I had no sense of responsibility and I needed to take life more seriously. The final straw was when he bailed me out of jail.
I've been to jail a few times myself. What did you do?
My friends and I stole a delivery van, had a shipment of Shioi's Simpsons decks, brand new, very expensive. We were going to fence them and use the money to take a trip to Okinawa. Are you familiar with what it's like to grow up in a corporate family?
Not a clue.
You have to understand, the children are trained to hate rival corporations. We do not regard a theft of Shiwi's goods as illegal. We are simply doing our part to ensure Renraku's supremacy. This kind of behavior is ignored and even tacitly encouraged by the corporate company media. Oh, kitty, don't rub against the microphone. You might start hearing some purring in a minute. Unfortunately, we were caught by Sui's security, not Renraku.
You think your father approved even secretly?
I doubt it very much. For him, the activity was not the issue. It was that I was caught and embarrassed both the company and him. He's very much a man who believes that there is a proper way to do things and I had once again cut corners.
What did your father do next?
This is a story for another time, unfortunately. I still have a lot of arranging to do, and I doubt anyone else will be willing to be alone with me in the darkened room. Come back later. We can discuss it further.
Okay, that's what you want.
It is. Thank you again for your hospitality. Alright. Box of Memories. Gaichu's box of personal effects is overflowing with a collection of souvenirs, mementos, and knickknacks. There's no rhyme or reason to the collection of items. They appear to have been thrown in haphazardly. Lying atop the box are a collection of antique Japanese coins inside an overturned wooden mask, and a black lacquered box with gold inlay. Gaichu Katsu said, sniffing the air in your direction. Ah, I see you have found my box of personal effects. Please, feel free to examine whatever you like within it. Just take care to put them back when you are done. I do not own much, but the things I keep are very precious to me. They are all that remains of my former life. The wooden mask. Wooden mask is extremely light. It's been painted of pale white. Its surface is almost as smooth as porcelain. Oh, we read that one last time. Alright, but this is new. The expression, while kindly, is ambiguous and uncanny. Viewed from above, the expression is one of calm contentment. Shifting the mask to view it at an upward angle causes the expression to seem melancholy, almost pain.
What's this wooden mask I chew?
It is a mask from the historical no play Ikuta Atsumori. The face of that is a young samurai, Taira no Atsumori. Gaichu faces your direction, gesturing towards the mask. I had a collection of a dozen or so no masks when I was younger. That is the last remaining one and my personal favorite.
What's the difference between a normal play and no?
No actors wear those masks to cover their faces. The angle they hold themselves at changes the expression on the mask, so the acting is highly rigid and controlled. The entire performance is highly ritualized. There's no measure of improvisation allowed, only refinement of the prescribed form. Gaichu folds his arm over his chest, dipping his head in thought. The words are sung, like in a Western opera, and accompanied by a set of musicians known as a Hayashi. The Hayashi keeps time with several drums, a flute, a chorus in the Greek theatrical sense, I mean. Unfortunately, no is an unpopular art in modern times. I expect this because all the plays are conducted in classical Japanese, which is not comprehensible to the general public. I've heard that the creators of No, a father and son in the 14th century, took inspiration from magical rituals at Shinto shrines. It's said that by placing masks upon their faces, the actors could become possessed by the spirit of the character they play. There are worse fates, I think, than to embody the spirit of a tragic warrior like Atsumori.
What's the play about?
A young man travels with the priest who raised him at the Ikuta shrine to commune with the spirit of his father, Taira no Atsumori. The young man's father died at the Battle of Ichinotani when the son was only a baby, and he wishes to know who his father was. The pair stayed the night in a small hut. In the night, the hermit in the hut explains that he is the ghost of Atsumori. Atsumori had been granted a brief reprieve from his time in the afterlife to meet his son. During the night, they speak of the battle in which Atsumori was killed, the history of the Taira family, and their philosophy. Atsumori fades into darkness as he finishes the tale of Taira's downfall, just as the family itself faded into obscurity. So think we, yet oh, that we might change this fragile dream of joy into the lasting love of waking life, says Atsumori before fading. It is a tale of sorrow, love, and a burden of war upon the dead and living alike. The price one pays for war is not always in one's own blood alone, but in shattering one's own family.
Why is it your favorite, then?
Gaichu smiles. A measure of civic pride, I suppose. And I like the story. Taira no Atsumori died in the Battle of Ichinotani, just outside Kobe. The play takes place primarily at Ikuta Shrine, which is located in downtown Kobe. In old cities in Japan, especially in Kaihashin, I always felt there is a sense of history wherever one looks. The skyline may have skyscrapers and delivery drones, but the foundations are laid on the bones of the dead. Gaichu shrugs, holding his arms across his chest. I think it is important to remember their sacrifices and joys, sorrows and glories. Gaichu laughed suddenly, shaking his head. This is why I sometimes worry that I am a sentimentalist at heart. Alright, what's the lacquered box? The box is a deep, glossy black hue. The edges and corners are rounded rather than sharp, and gold flake inlay across the surface glitters even in dim lighting the room. Sliding the top off, the interior contents are revealed. A click reset, complete with inkstone and block, brushes and paper. Gaichu wrinkles his nose, and his expression one of distaste. Ugh, that thing. It is a beautiful set, but it's a shame that I am unable to make use of it.
Because you're blind? No, my handwriting has been absolutely terrible.
Oh, sorry, I said that in my face. Whatever fanciful stories you may have heard being able to tell a swordsman's ability by his handwriting, I assure you that they are incorrect. The set was a gift from a professor of Japanese literature. He appreciated my interest in the classics, the Tale of the Heike, Tale of Genji, the collection of the 10,000 Leaves, etc. I think he wished to encourage me to cultivate non-martial art interests. Gaichu smiles crookedly and shrugs. I appreciated the gesture, but my attempts at fine calligraphy mostly resembled excited chickens prancing over paper, their feet soaked in ink. Alright. Alright, all that said, let's check our mission computer. Finally. Jeez Louise. Alright. One unread message. Alright. Job offer from Isabel. Before Isabel pops onto the screen, she stares into the camera, her eyes full of intensity. If you're watching this, you decided to listen to my job offer. That's a good thing. I wasn't convinced that you would. Our target is a local Decker, a former poet. In the Matrix, his handle is Rhombus. He has the software that we need. Unfortunately, he's unassailable from the Matrix, and nobody knows where he lives in meat space. But I know where he's going to be. There's an event coming up that Rhombus can't afford to miss. He might already be on his way there. If you're reading this message, Deckers from all over Asia, white hat and black hat alike, are converging on Harbor Spires Hotel. This year, Harbor Spires is hosting DeckCon, Hong Kong's largest annual decking convention. Rhombus is going to be there, and that gives us an opportunity. We're going to hit the convention, fight him in meat space, and get the software away from him, and we're going to do it quietly. Quietly, you say? Ooh. I mean, I know we've only technically been on 2 runs. One not so quiet, the other one definitely quiet. I'm going to say a lot of the runs are going to be like the first one. Just saying. Enclosed, you will find a copy of the plan that I have worked out for the run, presented in bullet point format. Everything should be fairly straightforward. Isabel image winks off the screen, replaced by a blinking cursor. As you watch, the screen begins to fill with lines of simple instructions. I will provide you and one other runner of your choice with visitor passes for the convention. I will proceed ahead of you using my own guest badge. I will hide in the women's lavatory on the first floor. You will enter via the kitchen and procure me a uniform for the catering staff. Please be assured that the uniform is size 4. Not 3, not 5, 4. I don't know why I was looking at this one. 3, not 5. No, not 3, not 5, 4. No more. There are 4 sizes. We will rendezvous. I will change in the uniform, and using it, I will infiltrate the administrative wing on the 6th floor. You proceed into the convention hall and await further instructions. Using the admin computer, I will identify Rhombus via his guest registration form. Once I have done this, I will alert you via comlink. I will upgrade your badge to VIP status, granting you access to the VIP wing of the hotel. You will tell Rhombus that he has been granted VIP status and offer to escort him to the complimentary hotel room. I will escort him to a room that I designate and hold him there. I will jack out of the Matrix and make my way from the admin wing to your room. We will intimidate Rhombus and beat the tar out of him until he gives us the software. Okay, I like that part of the bunch. Like everything else, I'm like, you got to that part, I'm like, oh, I'm on board. Okay, cool. Just tell me that. I'm good for that. We will tie and gag Rhombus and stuff him into a storage closet. We will not be gentle. It's okay if he stops crying. Actually, please prioritize this. I want to see tears. We can do that. Software until we make our escape. The text fades and Isabel rings back into the screen. See, it's a simple plan, just like I said. We should be able to get through without firing a shot. So, will you do it? Help me get the software I need? Let's do it. Pre-recorded footage of Isabel rings off to the screen. A real-time feed of her Matrix avatar replaces it. Excellent. I knew I could count on you. Saddle up, Slane. This is going to be fun. Alright, let's see. I think I did all this. Yeah, I did all this before I logged off last time. Okay. Okay, so now we have our general NPCs to talk with. Yay. So it's not that I like talking. I like figuring out the story and stuff like that. I just know it might not be the most exciting for you all, and I apologize. But this is kind of the nitty gritty, like especially with this game. Um, Again, because I want to keep the last secret ending open as a possibility at least. There is going to be a lot of talking, so. 3 people, possibly locals, are busily hunched over, happily discussing something beneath their breath. From the looks of them, they appear to be sailors. Rough-hewn clothes stained by salt, leathery skin, and an acute awareness of being on land. You watch their feet shuffle awkwardly on the docks. Their whispers are just within earshot. Nah, I asked Crafty, and she said the same. Them dreams is bad. Think we'll lose them at sea? We're supposed to set out soon to make that delivery. What if they follow us? Ugh. I don't think so. Crafty said these things is just affecting right here for now. As soon as we sail, dreams will stop. Hey! Third sailor sees you and taps her friends on the shoulder. They shoot upright. Run examine his fingernails, and another coughs loudly and begins to hum. Last pretends she didn't see you. But when they sense your continued stare, the third speaks up. Where are you looking at, Landy?
Overheard you talking about the dreams. I've had them too.
You feel an uneasiness pass through the sailors. Seems anyone who comes by these parts is having them. As soon as they leave, the dreams stop. Right eerie it is.
Any leads on why they're happening?
We don't know much ourselves. We only just returned from our last delivery, but the dreams ambushed us fast enough. Hey, what about that Crafty? She runs the five phases. Smart girl. Might know a thing or two about this plight. You ask her, and she might have something more to say. That's kind of your hint. Like, if you haven't talked to Crafty about this, do it.
There was a boat here with a merchant selling goods not too long ago. He leave?
3 sailor's suspicions turn to smirks. Merchant, he says. The crook didn't so much leave as he was chased off by Kindly. No sales permit? Not a big loss, though. Local shops have way better stuff than that small-time hustler. Why don't you look around? You'll find the shop owners here are more friendly towards you now that you got an okay from Kindly.
Thanks for the tip.
Right, and stay careful around these parts.
Didn't mean to interrupt. See you around.
I don't think these have anything to say. Why isn't it the young one from before? Pa, can't you see we're busy? Alright, never mind. Thanks for the game. Enjoy. Have fun. Side of Matthew's trail looks freshly scrubbed. Leaks of kerosene. Broad swathes of the flaking paint have been removed, revealing the brittle plastic siding, discolored by years of acid rain. You can see the faded black traces of race graffiti. It reads, Job Stealer. Something thumps inside the trailer. You could easily peer in one of the windows. Let's look in. Inside are dingy, cramped living quarters, cluttered with broken drones and unwashed dishes. What looks like a rumpled, motley colored shag carpet is heaped over about half this tiny space, obscuring most of the furniture. After a moment, the shag carpet moves. It rises about a foot, then surges slightly towards the window. Then it stops, pulsing and fidgeting. It's hard to see clearly through the built-up grime on the window. Let's wipe it. The carpet is actually plush-colored drones. Teddy bears, raccoons, little dolls. There must be 24 inside the caravan, all companionship models. They're all looking at you, as if they've realized you're not Matthew. They watch, fidgeting. Then in one coordinated motion, they all lie down and go dormant again. Creepy! Slain! Beautiful! Why do I owe this unexpected pleasure? Why, you're not here for some robotics, are you? Well, shucks. He rolls his shoulders ostentationally, sticks his cigarillo casually between his teeth. His eyes have a strained, bloodshot look.
Looks like someone vandalized your trailer.
Wait, you mean the paint? Just some neighborhood kids. Good kids. Having a lark. I nearly fell over laughing when I saw it this morning.
Why would someone call you a job stealer?
No idea. Drones are job makers. Waggles a cigarette at you. I know what you're thinking, Slane. I think of myself. Drones take jobs. Well, medicine takes jobs from the undertakers, and sewer drones take jobs from people who used to crawl through the filth to feed their families. He holds his hand somberly over his heart, and his voice deepens. When you see a drone messenger or a maid, it's easy to think, that used to be a person. Could be. But that person can do another job now, and they can have a drone themselves. Everyone's better off. Why? And Matthew's voice rises. His smile wrinkles painfully around the edges as he carries on enthusiastically. The same people who call drone dealers job stealers often themselves come to me for... Matthew suddenly shuts up. His smile gets even more waxy. Hey, let's not get all wound up about this stuff. It's too cheery a day for running off in our heads.
What exactly are drones you still used for?
Just about everything. They're helpers to metahumans in all sorts of useful ways. Drones cook, clean, carry messages, lift heavy loads, tend to delicate tasks. Why, drones can even care for the infirm and provide companionship to children. Matthew taps his temple with his finger. Think about it, beautiful. All the boring, dangerous, painful jobs that people used to do. Jobs that drones do now. He glances around it, way, and up at the walled city looming above. Despite his bright eyes and gleaming smile, his voice sounds almost thoughtful. Because of mechanization, we don't force workers to breathe as many chemicals in the refineries. We don't make teenage girls pick silk cocoons out of boiling water. Not anymore. Drones help us. He shakes off his passing air of seriousness, clamps his cigarillo in his teeth, trusts his hands in his pockets. They're really something else, ain't they?
How do people in Hoy feel about drones?
How do people feel about drones? Why, they love them. Excuse me. Just about every household that can afford drones has drones. You sure you don't want to try out this little UC2 tarantula? Great entry-level personal assistant. He smiles widely, but the edges of his mouth twitch uncomfortably. Drones free people to take skilled jobs. They make the economy more efficient. And drones give poor people services they couldn't ever afford otherwise. Wow, Slane. Just smell that brisk spring air. He inhales deeply through his nose, drawing in the fetid reek of the polluted river and sudden heat of monsoon season. This topic is fascinating, really fascinating, but we gotta get back to work. Shall we walk the lot?
I noticed you have a lot of drones in your trailer.
Mild Matthew smiles serenely at you. Drones in the trailer? Oh, I think I have a couple in there. Probably ones I'm fixing.
A couple? Must be at least a dozen.
Matthew shrugs uncomfortably. Funny thing about drones, when you see a few, they always look like so many more. Weirdest thing, that strange little fellas. Let's not talk about maintenance, it's boring. I bet there's something you need today.
Incredible bargains how they fall off the back of a truck.
Are you implying that they are stolen? If so, you are mistaken. He smiles indulgently as if he said something in an alien language. This merchandise is provided only by trusted suppliers who certify the authenticity and workability of their goods. And they don't furnish manufacturer certificates, but that's all the providers are really top shelf guys, really beautiful people. Otherwise, they wouldn't carry their drones.
Can I be a supplier if I have a spare drone?
Well, it's a very exclusive process. You need to be a member of the community in good standing, have good references, pass a background check. Or if all you have is a drone, I can work with you.
I think I understand the situation.
Fantastic! I'd like to make sure all customers are thoroughly informed and feel completely comfortable with their purchases. Yeah, goodbye. If I'm remembering correctly, I think there's a way where we can break him, basically break his brain. I might be wrong. Oh, hello. Handsome Lee. It's muggy out, even for Ahoy in monsoon season. You pause to mop your brow. Suddenly you feel eyes upon you. As you glance up, you meet the tranquil, searching gaze of a man half hidden in the shadows. He's wearing a crisp, white tailored shirt sleeves neatly rolled, with dark gray silk tie and smart black trousers. If he's sweating, you don't see it. Man tilts his head ever so slightly in greeting. A newcomer. Welcome. He flashes you a brilliant smile, eyes glinting with amusement. You can just barely detect a faint trace of an accent in his voice. Handsomely his name, purveyor of enhanced sensory experiences. I can see you've got some tales to tell.
You're not from around here, are you?
His smile flickers briefly. He's got a decent poker face, but you can see that he's rattled. Why do you ask?
Because Hoy's street dealers are too busy to use such flowery language.
You're right, I'm not from Hawaii.
Keep going.
I was born in Taiwan. I was forced to flee during the Nationalist War. I hear you have a slight accent as well. Seattle? Yeah, so handsome you can't see his face. Emphasis on the slight. The corner of his lips curls smugly. It's your move, apparently. Yeah.
Good guess. Redmond Barrens.
Handsomely suddenly fixes you with his gaze, hanging you so up. His face is impassable. Nasty place.
Toughen me up. I've nothing to be ashamed of.
I know just what you mean. My own life experiences have left me ready for anything, but we can discuss this another time. Yes, let us now talk about business. I am a businessman after all. So how about it, friend? Can I show you my wares? Sure, show me what you got. And I don't want any of that. Okay, enjoy that. I mean it. Enjoy. I didn't do any. Okay, bye. Be well. Alright, also, Crafty doesn't say anything this time. I'm 90% sure. I'll save our time from... Yeah. A rotund, balding dwarf in a cheap suit turns to face you. Light glints from the heavy gold chains that hang around his neck. When he speaks, the voice that greets you is high and nasal and has been contorted into a rough approximation of a New York accent. Pleased to meet you. Chang was kind enough to arrange his little sit-down between us. He seems a sod-like hand for you to shake. You can call me Dr. Shen Yang.
Always good to meet a paying client.
His grip is as soft as his palm is moist. It's like shaking hands with a boneless ham. You share a long, uncomfortably flaccid handshake before he finally releases you. Looking for a little outside help on a problem I've been having. Ordinarily, I'd handle it myself, or have some of my friends see to it, but it's kind of delicate, you know? My guys, they noticed before they made any headway on the problem. So I figured, hey, I hire contractors all the time. I also get contractors of different stripe.
Alright, tell me about your problem. Maybe we can help.
I run a little film studio, Southern Crown Films. We mostly do trade work, but we record some Sims too. Maybe you've seen some of my stuff. Space Mongols from the Moon, Flavor of Pomegranates, Ultimate Kill Squad.
No, but I like the sound of Ultimate Kill Squad. How much killing do they do?
He offers you a chip-tooth grin. A lot. There's this one scene where two trolls gang up on an elf and they... Well, I don't want to spoil it. Believe me, it is glorious. I'll send a copy over to Shang so you can take a look. Anyway, there's this other guy in the industry and we've been butting heads since day one. Name's Neville Ma. He runs the Yellow Spring studio. No matter what I do, I can't shut him out of the biz. He always manages to get one over on me and steal my stars. He's been running me into the ground with this show called Promises in Moonlight. Stars a girl named Penelope Wong. New talent, but the viewers have been going nuts over her. She's the show's linchpin. Hang on, I'm getting there. So, about 6 months ago, Neville was out in Guangzhou for some hoity-toity party. He's on the road, probably drunk, and somebody comes out of nowhere and pow! Breaks his fancy new Yurikor Westwind. Bad luck for Neville, good luck for me. I figure, hey, that's the end of him for the year, and I start planning some new stuff he can compete with from inside the hospital. You follow me so far?
Let me guess. He found a way to compete with you from inside the hospital.
No, worse. Bastard is out of the hospital. He's back in the game, bringing out Season 2 of Promises in Moonlight. I need that show off the air one way or another. And that, my friend, is where you come in.
Tough break. Maybe the wreck wasn't that bad.
Yeah, right. His car was totaled. No way he walked out of that wreck unscathed. I tell you, kid, you should have been in that hospital for at least 3 months, and in physical therapy a lot longer. Only took him like a week to get out. Couldn't freaking believe it. That kind of medical care costs top dollar. He's got a lot of money, but not that much. recovery time like that means one of two things is going on. Neville could have found himself a silent partner, someone willing to pay top dollar for cutting edge care. I don't think it's likely, but it could happen. If it ain't that, smart money says that he's been skimming off the top for Yellow Springs earnings and not reporting it to the other shareholders.
And you want me to look into that, I take it.
I need you to go get me something to blackmail Neville with. Find out how he could afford to get out of the hospital so fast. He works out of his penthouse most days, so search his computer, closet software, whatever. There's got to be something incriminating in there.
Where's this penthouse?
Neville lives in Repulse Bay. It's this real squirky joint on the south end of Hong Kong Island, and by the bay with the sand now. I haven't been able to get anybody to poke into around his apartment because security's too tight. Lucky for you, Neville's throwing a party on the mezzanine level of all the shops and restaurant and balcony and such. He's celebrating the second season launch of his show, and everybody's going to be there. Going to make a real snarl for building security. You might want to hit the party up if you can bluff your way in. Everybody close to Neville will be there, and most of them will be 3 sheets to the wind by the time you get there. Some discreet questioning might get me the dirt that I need. Just remember, if you go to the party, don't use your real name. Go with Argyle. Should be safe enough, and there's nobody in the biz out there with that name, so nobody asks any questions about how your work's going. Yeah, I could ask him about a better show, but
hit the apartment, hit the party, dig up blackmail information on Neville Ma. Sounds easy enough.
Nods vigorously. Oh yeah, Cheng talked you up when I approached her with the job. Given what she told me, this job should be cake. Now the blackmail material is what I need more than anything, but if you can get Penelope Wong out of her contract, I'll pay you extra, you got it? I want that star power on my side. One last thing. I don't want you starting a scene while you're there. You interrupt his party, make a mess or trash his apartment, and I'm not paying you. We clear on that?
We're clear.
Good. I can have Ma knowing I'm after him. In my business, everybody's got dirty tricks, but if you make it public, you're using them? That's it. My career's as dead as the People's Republic of China. Nobody will work for me or work for or with me ever again. So, don't embarrass me, hey?
No mess, no guns. Got it.
Oh, you can pack heat. Just don't kill anybody at the party or Ma's apartment. You gotta fight, you find somewhere else to do it. If security gets onto you, do what you gotta. I'd rather explain a few bullet holes than a pile of dead Shadowrunners. Got me?
Got it.
Good. If you pull this off, I'll recommend you to all my friends, too.
You don't seem like you deal with Shadowrunners much.
Shadowrunners, midlight prancers, who gives a crap? I got the money and a job, and I don't care who does it as long as the price is right. What's more, I got a lot of friends around town, and a lot of them run in your circles, too. So, we got a deal? You gonna do it?
Yeah, we have a deal.
Screw Bryden's. Good man, that's what I'd like to hear. When you're done, drop Ching a line. I'll meet you back here and hand over the money. Okay. Let's see, I think Law has something new. Maximum Law surveys the doctor needs this meticulously. Whoops, sorry. Hey, Slane, I was hoping you come around. You got a minute?
What's up?
Kindly had Wimpo burn your sin. Word is you're doing work for her, not normal Yellow Lotus stuff. Law shifts from foot to foot, fidgets with the hardware on his belt. Shadowrunning.
Yes, I'm now an unusual asset.
Wicked. Law says it distinctly in a hushed tone, then seems to catch himself. He draws himself to his full height. His usual demeanor and self-assurance returns. That's pretty ironclad, Slane. Pretty vicious. If you do good, you'll be noticed. And hiccup, hiccup, hiccup. Okay. Listen, if you got info about runs, I can make it worth something. We Wimpoans call that kind of thing metadata. Wimpoan likes to get the word on the streets from the active operators.
Doesn't Wimpo's service to their clientele include not prying?
It's not prying. Elon speaks with authority. He thrusts his chest out and puts his hands on his hips. It's gathering information. The world runs on information. If you got metadata for me, great. If not, see if I care. Law looks out through the rain across the rocking boats. He wipes his foggy goggle lenses with a rag from his pocket. His stomach gurgles loudly. Augmented reality goggles aside, this gig gets really boring sometimes. You ever want to talk shop? I'm here.
Tell me about Wimpoa.
We're pretty much the best, yo. What do you want to know?
Just tell me about your tribe generally. Who are you guys?
You really are new to Kong, aren't you? We're the Neo Matrix Collective. We run the Hong Kong Data Haven and the Kong Shadow Nets. We are the Kong Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of Kong. And in those shadows you'll find threads of golden light, like vast fighter web that carry information. Those golden threads, and that web is Wimpoa. Law gives a curt viral smile. Nod. My buddy Red Storm wrote that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we're bleeding edge on the path to singularity. We're doing things no one else is doing anywhere, except maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is the Matrix, and we're building a society of truth and expertise and information.
You seem very outspoken, less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that tribal?
I'm more outspoken, yo. I don't need the meat-space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. Is that a Wimpoan thing? For those of us who are more dialed, maybe. We're post-cultural. Swips his hand around, gesturing at the surroundings. I hardly see any of this meat space. Our meat space headquarters is a big 20th century ship that is totally awesome. Whatever, it's just meat space. Wimpoa is bleeding edge on the path of becoming the singularity, and in the singularity, there's going to be nothing but straight up truth. Boom! Truth.
So what's Wimpoa doing on Kindly's turf? Are you a liaison?
What am I doing here? I'm an ambassador. I broker Wimpoa's services to Hoi. Emissaries like me are all over Kong, tying it together in an invisible network.
So you work with Kindly doing tech for the Yellow Lotus?
Well, I do some work directly with Kindly, but my focus is more on the street level. We're all part of the big machine, each piece playing its critical role.
So with any highly evolved machine.
Exactly. That's why nobody misses with Wimpoa. Boom.
Does Wimpoa provide any technical service for Hong Kong's poor?
Sure we do. We run pirate network. I kept thinking private. Pirate networks. Our services are way more than most ordinary people want, though. You can get prepaid bandwidth with a corporate carrier for fractions of the Nuyen, but you're selling your soul. They monitor it. If you want to operate unmonitored by corporate algorithms, you gotta fly through Wimpoa network. It's the only place to be.
Wimpoans are coders and deckers for criminals, is that right?
We do tech for anyone in the Kong outside the corporate umbrellas. Anyone can use our networks if they pass our vetting and can pay for what we bring. It's mostly the extra legal element that needs our skill, though.
Thanks for telling me about Wimpoa.
Outsiders don't understand us. Maybe you can, if you're really smart. We're in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats in my goggles right now. Time's wasted slaying. Kicks one of the bins at his feet, the sea of electronic parts when they rattle loudly. You gonna buy something?
So, your elders hired a cool assassin to...
I know! Those piss-drinking, pig-sucking... Law erupts into a torrent of livid, awkward profanity, some sort of pidgin of Cantonese and tech speak. He catches himself short, pulls himself back together, and clenches his fist. You know whose fault this is?
Ning.
She always had it in for Magpie, because Magpie was a genius. That turbo-snoring woo-woo idiot and her lackeys almost destroyed the Wimpoa network. I hope they string the bones of those morons from the cutters with a bunch of millifilament wire from the blessed auto fab. I've heard all the rumors. What's the full story? What do you know? We need to port this day out to the whole tribe.
Before I go on, you seem fond of Magpie.
Magpie was the best of the bunch. She was a wicked coder and a Nova hot decker, plus she knew the infrastructure. Those of us in Magpie's bus maintained the shadow nets. That's what keeps Wimpoa independent. Now we lost Magpie and half the other elders. All that skill base is gone. All because Nim got a bunch of cruft in her boards. It's her fault, I'm telling you. Alright, let's tell him the story. He listens in prolonged silence as you lay it all out. When you're done, he shakes himself as if awakening from a bad dream. Whoa. For real? Man, this is going down in tribal lore slang. Here, this is a cred stick I keep on hand for when people have special information. Take it, you earned it. I kind of want to think now and share files.
Alright, see you later, Law.
You gotta go? Oh, okay. Watch your back and shoot straight and all. I got things to do too. Alright. Don't mess with the law, indeed. Alright, let's see what Spider Shen is up to. I think that it's up here. Okay. Shen is busily counting out cred sticks as you approach. Shen's hands move quickly, deftly sorting them into small plastic bins. Labels on the bins bear names. Steel Arm Lu, Grandfather Woe, Lucky Ping, and Kindly Shang. Shen's eyes flicker up at you for a fraction of a second before returning to the desk. One moment, I'll be done shortly. A few less flips of the wrist see the final cred sticks sorted into a respective bin, with the lion's share going to Kindly and Steel Arm Lu. There. Now, what can I do for you?
You pay a lot of dues to the Yellow Lotus?
Shen shrugs, obviously indifferent to the amount the shot's being taxed. I do, but that's how the system works. I pay kindly for rent. Steel Arm Lu gets money because he's my superior. Lucky Ping receives a finder fees for goods she sends my way, and Grandfather Wu took me in. He gets paid because he's family, and I owe him for getting me off the streets. You join the organization, and you have to pay the dues. It's the same as anywhere else, and it beats the hell out of being homeless in Kowloon. Sliding the boxes away below the counter, Shen produces a box of assorted needles and inks and begins cataloging them on a patterned PDA.
You don't mind paying?
Not really. Grandfather Wu saved my life by taking me in, you know. Life expectancy for homeless kids in Aberdeen isn't very good. Because of him, I have skills and friends who will pay to make use of them. It's a good life, all things considered. Shen leans back against a stack of cages, causing the snakes within to hiss and snap at the gas. I'm just a blue lantern, a foot soldier. I answer the white man who I studied with on Wudang Mountain. He's the 49er, the main man who runs our crew. I don't pay him because he takes his own cut of what we make.
So what we got?
I don't think anything new.
Nothing new.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. That's it. Alright. Then we got the Troll Club. Oh, Stephen Dynamite. A disheveled man in filthy rag teeters on the sidewalk, wobbling on unsteady legs. His bloodshot eyes start around desperately, and an acrid, sweet odor that wafts off him buzzes unpleasantly in your nostrils.
You okay, man?
You have to help me, man. I need your help. His teeth grind, his grip tightens, his hand feels like a vice. Yeah, I'll break the grip. The man is thrown to his feet on the pavement. His mouth forms a comical oh. He looks up at you, a crooked smile cracks his ruined face. He makes an unsteady bow in your general direction. I could use someone like you. I make it worth your while. He feels up at you, eyes wide with expectation.
Worth my while, huh? I'm listening.
Man gets back on his feet with some difficulty and leans into to speak. Glancing closer, you see that his tattered clothing bears designer logos. He utters in low, urgent tones. I want you to take a message from me to Handsome Lee.
Yeah, I met him, but who the hell are you?
I'm Steven. Steven Dynamite! He nods eagerly, desperation in his eyes. A sluggish tongue wipes itself over the cracked skin of his lips. Look, you gotta help me. I've been poisoned. The crap that Lee sold me put me bad things in my head. Whenever I close my eyes, I see dark, narrow tunnels. So many hands grabbing, razor-sharp teeth gnawing, and the children.
Bad things in your head? What are you talking about? Hallucinations?
Chunky stares into space. A faint trickle of saliva makes its way down his chin. No, not exactly. More like nightmares. They feel very real. Teeth biting and faces. Faces I knew.
You know, the whole nightmare thing has been going around. It isn't just you.
No, this isn't that. I'm telling you, I was poisoned. I know it. You'll help me, won't you?
Alright, I'll do what I can.
Then tell Lee that he's done to me, that I need relief. Tell him that I want...
You've been a little vague about that, Steve. You need something in particular?
I want my money back. It's Reed, voice Reed, he stops and says no more.
Poison, nightmares, money back. Got it. Anything else?
Just please come back and please
Hurry.
Okay, we'll go to Handsomely in just a little bit. Gotta make our rounds. Hey, my fellow countryman returns. You want some chips and clip and dip? Help yourself, it's in the engine block. The Spider Drone walks past you carrying a biohazard bag with a severed arm in it. That's a big Sahara Combat League race tonight. Everybody's coming over. You want to come? No, I bet Kylie's keeping you busy.
You were from the UCAS Midwest. How'd you land in Hong Kong?
Ambrose bites one of his nails and regards you with a hint of suspicion. Well, that's a long story and kind of personal. All some jobs, a girl, real good reason to leave Chicago, whole shit ton of guns and money.
Guns and money were involved. Sounds like a good story. Shadowrunning.
Yeah, stuff like that. I was a hardcore vehicle worker back then, before Johnny Law cracked down on the road rigs. Man, those were the cowboy days. Freaky as hell, but great to remember. As he gets a wistful look on his face. We'd rebuild trucks and chop shops, reinforce the frames, bolt armor on, mount the suspension with robotics, drive them right through the front windows of buildings, and bash aside Lone Star cruisers on the way out. Good times. You do that in Hong Kong, you get auto barricades into missile enema. Crying shame. Anyway, I need to get out of Chi-Town, spread my wings. You know how that goes.
Chicago, are you following the news of the quarantine?
Emperor's face darkens. Yeah, I am. It's a terrible thing that happened there. My old hood is inside the containment zone. A lot of good peeps blocked behind that wall.
Read the postings on your wall, the ones about bug spirits.
Yeah, some of the leaked material is pretty convincing. Mega Vetus plague, bug spirits. I'm not sure which is more scary. Hell, maybe it's The Walking Dead. Think about it. We've got at least 4 HMHVV variants. It's only a matter of time until we get zombies. Ambrose gives you a nervous shiver. Nearby robotic arms tremble briefly. I'd take zombies over those bug spirits, let me tell you what.
Hong Kong seems like a long way to go just to get a break from Chicago.
He smiles, but there's a steel look in his eyes. Sometimes a guy just needs a change of scene.
Girls involved in getting you here, huh?
Yeah, there was. Shrugs awkwardly as if to make light of it. His voice has no hint of strain. His voice has a hint of strain in it. That's a story for another day. Hey, it's grand digging up breakage of the past lane, but time's wasted. I left Chicago, I landed in Hong Kong. After a while running the Kong Shadows, I landed here in Chrome Alley. That's the gist of it. I better get back to running.
Alright, goodbye, Brambros. Time for me to go.
Cheers, Slee. Talk to you later. Okay, can't inspect anything there, so alright, let's go ahead and head out. Alright, Troll Club, and then we'll go back to Handsome Lee. Frederick, buddy, what's up? Young troll bouncer manning the doors is in the midst of patting down a prospective patron with enough force to dislocate a shoulder or hip, while other shady-looking patrons walk idly past him into the club. He waits the shaken man inside, propelling him forward with a final pat on the back.
People don't realize that you gotta check for internal weapons as well as external ones. Are we talking the rubber glove treatment? No, nothing so crude. You just need the right technique. Matter of fact, I caught a guy just last week with a phosphorus grenade in his leg compartment. And what'd you do? And disarmed him, of course. Got it back behind the bar now. I'm gonna blow it off in the river and impress some girls. You looking for a pat down yourself? Or are you getting fresh with me? You're alright. You need anything else, you let me know. Are you a member of the family that owns this place? Sure am. Frederick Ka-Fi. Some call me Freddy. Most call me shit, no, please stop. Or something along those lines. I'm also the current record holder of Club 88 Pitch and Toss, which is to say, I throw deadbeats harder and farther than anyone else around these parts. High water mark is that piece of tape over yonder. Guy was an orc too. Hefty. But he simply soared that day. Why are you searching some people and letting others in? This is a private club. There's 3 kinds of people I let in. Members, guests of members, and people who make a good case. The latter 2 get a really good search before they get in the door, unless they're with kindly Shang or the Emperor of Japan or something. I don't care if someone is a cyber square or holdout pistol or whatever, but we can't have serious weapons for non-members inside. Mom sells some big stuff, but she puts electronic trigger locks in her merchandise until they're out the door, so people don't get on ideas. This is no assassination safe zone. Serious weapons go into the weapons check, unless you're a member. That way, if a big firefight ever breaks out, the members will have the upper hand. We keep the killings very rare. Most happen when some members get all fired up and decide to settle score with box cutters or something. So I'm a member now? You work for Ganley. As a Shadowrunner, no less. That makes you a member. Remember the rules. No fighting, unless you know. It comes down to that, then you're ready to skip off the concrete. No killing either. If you got legitimate killing business, go do it somewhere else. People come here to have a good time. Got it. Good. Running any business on the side? Nah, I may take the occasional payment to look the other way or be in the camp when the fight breaks out. But I have enough on my plate that I can't really take on much else. Training, you see, that's what I love to do. You gotta work hard to stay in peak condition. I also got some big steps in mind. Oh, some next steps in mind, excuse me. So I'm working even harder towards that. Big plans. You just wait and see. I also play the drums. BBB.
Where is the tape? Let's see if we can see the tape. I don't think I can see it. Oh, well. Oh, nope, there it is. There it is. Huh, that's an okay toss, I guess. Gonna turn down just a little bit. Okay. X does mark the spot. Troll Patriarch of Club 88 gently polishes a collection of old wooden belaying pins. These are but a few of the nautical touches that struggle vainly to assert their theme against the club's otherwise glassy neopunk decor. Back again, not just another ship passing in the night, eh?
I'm just a landlubber. Reckon you're not?
You reckon right? Though I haven't been on the water in far too long. Sounds like you miss it. Do I not strike you as king of the island nightlife?
You take the man out of the ocean, but not the ocean out of the man.
Ain't that the truth? So how can I help you?
Why the change of vocation?
Why does a man give up drinking, sell his trike, or throw out his porn collection? For a woman, of course. I had me one hell of a woman. Still do. This place was her dream, a business, a home for us together. Hard to deny the worth in that, no matter how much I miss what I once had. No, sir, no regrets. No regrets at all.
What's it like out on the high seas?
Better than when I was younger. Or better when I was younger. Things were simpler then, if not terribly profitable. Got my start on fishing trawlers, just barely scraping by. Good folk, though. Over the years, I made quite a name for myself, as one does. Got more regular work on better crews. Eventually earned a spot in a tugboat. Spent the bulk of my years crewing on ocean-going tugs for Wuxing. The big ships, the tankers, the bulkers, the container ships, the seabed miners, are all run by technical crews and computers now. On the smaller merchant boats, there's still a little seafaring left, but not much. But on the tugs, the supply boats, the salvage craft, that's where there's still a place for old-time sailors. It matters if you can wrap a cable on the winch in 30-foot seas, jury-rig a diesel engine, keep a boat on course with just the wheel and the binnacle after the bridge windows all blow out. It's a hard life, but good.
I'll leave you be.
X-Flow. A wiry elven woman leans over the bar, propped up on one shoulder. She glances back over her shoulder as you approach, lifting a half-empty glass to her lips. Selection here is total crap, but it's cheap. I hope you're not looking for quality or you're going to be really disappointed.
As long as I don't come blind, I don't care.
Hey, that's a spirit. With an attitude like that, you won't get disappointed very often, she raps the knuckle against her glass. I figure as long as it gets you drunk, it's good with me. Call me Exlo, by the way. Maybe we can help each other.
Nice to meet you, I'm Slain.
I've got good eyes for people in the business, and believe me, you smell like Shadowrunners and Nuyen. Plus, everybody here has been talking about Kindly's new hired help. I'm out here for work. You need any backup? I'm available.
What's your specialty?
I'm what it's called a mystic adept, kind of a physical adept magician. I throw spells and I can kill with a touch. Rather than unicorns, my friend. I'm rarer than unicorns, my friend. She lifts her glass, draining the last of it. Cheers.
You and me both, we're the same. Where are you from?
All over, really. Born and raised in Sydney, but ever since I was 15, I've been traveling anywhere there's work. Now a lot of opportunities for a street kid whose only skills relate to beating people up. I've lived in Paris, London, Vladivostok, Caracas. Hell, I even spent a year in Johannesburg, but Zania is full of assholes.
Your Cantonese pretty good. I don't even hear an accent.
Taps the base of her neck with 2 fingers. That's because it's chipped. My only concession to cyberware. When you move around as much as I do, linguists pay for themselves pretty quickly. They're not perfect, but they get the job done.
How'd you get into this life?
I grew up on the streets, running with gangs. Turns out if you get in enough street fights and have magical potential, things just naturally express themselves. Once that happened, I realized I could charge a lot more than the protection rackets I've been running. Besides, it's not like I know how to do anything else. I've never been to school, I'm sinless. What else am I gonna do? Panhandle for change? Shake down stuffer sacks for beer money? No thanks, Matt. I'd rather live life fast, hit hard, burn out.
Got any good runner stories?
Running hand through her hair, Exfil leans back and thinks. Yeah, I got a couple. There was this one time I signed up with some mercs in Eastern Europe. They had a job to do near Krasnodarski Krai, lifting some Abkhazian military software. I'm butchering everything, that's fine. Plan was pretty simple. We'd halo jump from a drone on the Russian side of the border, hike in towards the facility, blast our way in. The Abkhaz forces were supposed to be Matrix hotshots with crap and gun combat. Simple, right? No plan ever survives first contact with the enemy, though. Turns out the army had contracted out basic security to Windsor Systems. We started getting cut apart before we even breached the first cordon.
Sounds like a suicide mission.
The mercs were in pretty dire straits financially. It was a do-or-die situation for them. Literally. They owed too many debts, and if they couldn't deliver, they'd have been killed. So we pushed in. We were down to the 5 of us by the time we got to the main facility. One of the mercs, Vatclav, was a rigger. We were hunkered down in a vehicle bay while the Decker did his business, and Vatclav realized one of the APCs had been properly locked down, and it was still gassed up. Came out of that base with a 30mm cannon blazing away. Our exit was down at the coast. Our riverline patrol boat the mercs had on standby. It was some nervous fighting, but we managed to get out. Bit full of holes, sure, but we survived, and hey, that's what counts, right? See you later, Exlo. See ya. You know where to find me if you need me. The eldest son of the Cafe family appears to be far less inebriated than before. Though there's still a drink clutched in his massive hand, he's parting ways with an uncharacteristically awkward elf who's palmed something as she goes. Evening, Callum Cafe, at your service.
You know me.
Do I? I suppose one of us didn't make much of an impression.
You're kind of bitchy when you're sober.
I agree, and I tend to work on that. Okay. It doesn't take a runner's eye to tell who runs Club 88. Even the toughest of patrons show deference to the short woman in the back. It also helps that she tends a veritable arsenal of high-grade firearms. Back again. I see. Didn't catch your name before.
Didn't catch your ears either. I'm Slain.
Ermine Cafe. Pleased to meet you. We get a lot of passer-throughs. After their business with the document of the Yellow Lotus, they get escorted here to relax and shop, then they leave. I'm happy to never know their names, but you're a different story, aren't you?
What have you heard?
Not much. Yet. So what can I do for you?
Have you heard of a man named Raymond Black?
I seem to recall a blurb on the news, but didn't pay much attention, not a name I know. And if it was a name worth knowing, I'd know it.
Tell me a bit more about this place.
Club 88? We bought it 10 years ago. Before that, my husband crewed ships for the Wuzang. He'd be gone for weeks or sometimes months at a time, and I was sick of it. Raising two boys on my own? Troll boys? Huh. We needed something more stable, and I needed a husband at home. So we retired, and we put everything we had saved into this place. The 88 stands for good fortune, and the club is proven worthy of the name. Only some people appreciate that success, instead of whining about things that will never be.
Well, I'll leave you be.
You see me. Thank you, Ender. Alright. So we will go to the handsome Lee. Anyways, yeah, handsome Lee. There's a guy named Dynamite. Has a message for you. I think I can guess. Steven Dynamite?
If you're so smart, then can you guess what his message is?
From an avid consumer like more Steven, there's only one possible message. More.
Actually, there are two possible messages. The second one goes, "My dealer poisoned me."
His smile broadens. With the myriad of drugs that Steven filters through his system, it's almost an honor to be singled out this way. That's it, I seriously doubt I poisoned him. Go ahead, tell me what he wants.
What do you think? He wants his Nuyen back.
He strains abruptly from his elegant slouch and stretches his chin out. There was absolutely nothing wrong with my latest creation. It was painstakingly designed to elevate the senses and titillate the spirit, a smooth high that I have indulged in myself. Now, if the unfortunate Stephen happened to dilute my masterpiece with other lesser substances, I can hardly be held responsible.
You don't get it. I don't care whether your drugs work or not. I just want Steve's money.
He stares at you for a long moment, then reaches into his breast pocket. With a deft motion, he pulls out a small packet and prints it to you. There is no money. Not anymore. I have expenses, just as I'm sure that you do. But here, give this to Stephen with my regards.
For me, you shouldn't have.
Dealer smirks. I'm sure that you'd enjoy it, but no. This is for Stephen. Think of it as a consolation gift.
The gift of feeding a destructive addiction.
Lee smiles proudly. Stephen's not trying to kick his habit, so I'm not going to feel bad about it. Besides, I'd rather he enjoys my superior product than bog standard cram cut with glitter from some corner hack. If nothing else at all, what I'm offering Stephen should bring him some modicum of relief. That is what he's after, isn't it?
What good is this temporary fix anyhow? Why bother?
That's a fair question. Stephen's problems won't be solved overnight. My little gift simply lets him know that someone cares. His smile widens and he tilts his head towards you expectantly.
That's very touching.
Dealer smiles sheepishly. Well, let's not exaggerate. I strive to treat Stephen as it benefits a longtime customer. Anyway, he holds the packet out towards you and gives it a shake. Take this. Give it to Tim. It should help him, at least in the short term.
All right, Lee. I'll take it to him.
Very good. Please let me know how it goes when you're done. Sure, I'll take it. Alright, Steven. I got more drugs for you, so you'll never kick your habit. Steven Dynamite lolls on the sidewalk. While he jerks less as he moves, his skin has taken on a gray hue and his chest heaves with each labored breath. His sunken eyes swirl towards you. He wets his parched lips and addresses you. Hello, I'm relieved to see you. Thought you might not return. Can't trust anyone. This is a bad place.
Steve, I hate to say it, but you're not looking so hard.
Bad tears begin to cascade down his dirty, ruined face. I don't want to sleep because of those nightmares. I'm ravenous, so ravenous. But food makes me ill. I got the shakes real bad, too. I just want this to end. Chunky slumps in place, furrowing his brow. He responds with difficulty. Anyway, thanks for talking to that little bastard for me. So you got my money? Got my money?
Lee didn't have your money. He gave me it passed off to you instead.
And Junkie's eyes light up at the sight for the packet from Handsome Lady. Oh,
Just to warn you, it's the exact same stuff that you thought was poison.
I must have been delirious or high at the time.
Give it to me. You sure?
One last hit. That's all I need to get by. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking of strength, but I also am like, do I really care this much about this guy? Gold heart of something, I guess.
Can't let you do this to yourself. You take another hit, and I'm gonna hit you. Got it?
Chunky cowers before you, his eyes blaze with anger, but he relinquishes his grip. I hope you feel proud of bullying sad sacks like me. I didn't really want that hit anyhow.
Of course you didn't. There's a good man.
His eyes glare with tears. No, go away. Leave me die in peace.
Nope, not until you tell me about these dreams of yours. I said I'd help you, remember?
You want to ask about my dreams?
Why? Because I want to help you, idiot.
They aren't like ordinary dreams. They're visions. They're so real. I put all kinds of substances into my body, and I've never experienced anything like this.
You're practically raving last time we talked. Explain your dreams to me again. Clearly, this time.
You know, as though his tongue stumbles and stalls as he speaks, I'm walking through a series of dark, narrow halls. It stinks to high heaven. And I run more and more. And I run to more and more people as I move forward. People are jostling me, but I'm starving. Like, I haven't eaten for days. I just want some food. So I press on. I started seeing children in the crowd. Children with terrible burns and disfigured faces. All these people are grabbing me. He begins to tremble from head to foot, and his eyes bulge. Then I see the teeth all around me. I feel the teeth on me. He bathed in sweat from the effort of speaking and cradles his head in his arms.
You must know that drugs are making these nightmares worse, right? So why take so many of them?
Because I need them. I used to get my kicks from explosives. I love blowing stuff up, seeing glass splintering, solid walls disintegrating, flames licking the sky. Not anymore. Now I stick to needles and pills.
Hang on, you blew stuff up?
I was a bomb maker. I designed custom ordnance. It was a dream job. It was very lucrative. He rolls his thumb and forefinger together and snaps. Megacorps couldn't get enough of the devices I invented. I was too high on my own ego to wonder what they were up to.
What were the Megacorps doing then?
They were fueling wars. They often managed to sell to both sides in conflicts all over the world. Casualties be damned.
That's nothing new. War profiteering is as old as the war itself.
Trinity face Susan's ashen hue and the corners of his mouth pulled downward. Yes, war. I thought my bombs were used in wars against militias, mercenaries, and armies. I didn't think of them as people. But the weapons I developed got used against civilian targets. The man started digging his rough fingernails into his palms so hard that tiny crescents of blood stained his palms. I'm from Guizhou. Sichuan has taken over much of the province, but pockets of resistance remain. There's these big political struggles. Actions are moved from the lives of ordinary people. Yet the village that I grew up in, Guizhou, was annihilated. They were tobacco farmers, winemakers, peasants, not military. Tears leaked from the man's eyes, tracing narrow lines down his filthy cheeks. I recognized the distinctive patterns and the traces that were left behind. These were my palms. I used to shadow the landscape of my childhood.
Why would Sichuan bother to bomb a village?
To break the spirit of people, it broke mine. Now I just want to forget. Drugs helps sometimes.
When your village was bombed, did you lose anyone that you knew?
He meets your gaze with red-owned eyes. He throws his arms wide. I knew them all, from the frailest elders to the littlest children. My own family died too. We weren't always close. Pyromaniac inventors don't fit in well with agricultural backwaters. But they were my only kin.
Okay, Steve. I think I'm getting what's going on here.
I guess I must be feeling guilty about the bombs, huh? All the blood on my hands, I can feel it all the time. Just like bombs, I don't want anyone to get hurt. How am I ever gonna make this go away? How will I live with myself? The drugs help me forget, but...
Well, you could start by helping some kids or stealing your bomb schematics back.
Helping kids? Stealing my... Junkie squeezed mutiny in place, gnawing on his chapped lower lip. I want to know where to begin. Need time to think. Well, I named our thing the Revenge, our ship, so...
You could show those megacorps that they can't use you. Plot your revenge.
A tightless smile stretched across the man's haggard features as your suggestion registered in his brain. I honestly wouldn't mind using my expertise against those battlers. Might be reason enough to get clean. His sunken eyes seemed to sparkle with the thought. I'll tell you what, I'll think about it. I'll think real hard.
I guess that's the best I could hope for. Yeah, best of luck, Steve.
Thanks. Alright. Let's go back to Handsome Lee. Let's see. I wonder if I'd see you again. Is our friend Steven's hunger assuaged?
I don't know what that guy's gonna do, but I talked to him for you.
Well, in any case, thank you for attempting to help defuse the situation. Now let's get back to business. Let's see. I'd actually like to talk to you about you. You said that you came from Taiwan. I want to hear more about that. He pauses for a moment, mulling it over. Finally, he acquiesces with a nod. If you like, we work together in a sense. If Steven hadn't sent you, he might have sent someone else, and things might not have gone smoothly. I suppose I owe you for that.
Well, I wasn't going to say it.
Indeed, so where to begin? I grew up in Taipei ghetto, not unlike the Redmond Barons. Worked my fingers to the bone to get an education.
Yeah? What was your major?
I was studying chemistry. I was promised a job by a megacorp. I thought I found a way out. But all that vanished overnight with the war.
How'd you end up in Hoi then? Surely your credentials gave you access to other options.
I had a fiancée and a widowed sister with 2 young sons. We couldn't stay. I went to the manager who wanted to hire me. I begged her to use the megacorp's resources to get us out. But when I made my request, the woman laughed in my face. With the war raging around us, she no longer had a use for me. It wasn't her job to save women and children. She made that abundantly clear.
Megacorps aren't charitable organizations. Newsflash.
No, they aren't. Neither are street dealers, but that didn't prevent me from helping poor Stephen. It isn't a matter of charity, it's a matter of basic decency, of humanity. I have it, she did not. A shout crosses Handsome Lee's elegant features. My family and I were separated in the chaos. I scoured every rendezvous point that we discussed. I left messages. Nothing.
I'm sorry, man. I suppose Hong Kong isn't a bad place to hole up and wait for information.
His claw clenches for a moment. When he finally speaks somewhat bitterly. That's true, but I've long since given up. I respect that you've lived a rough night, yet you still know how to... I respect that you've lived a rough life, yet still know how to help.
Maybe. I'm stubborn that way.
Randomly bursts into laughter. I like your attitude. And then his face darkens. I had wanted to escape, pretend I hadn't grown up in poverty and squalor. You know why I chose to live here in the shadow of the walled city rather than seek out more legitimate prosperity?
I'm listening.
I love the fine things I experienced when I seemed poised to enter the upper echelons of society, but it was all based on lies. And I love chemistry. I'm very good at what I do. Here I can use my talents. Nobody gives a shit what I wear or how I speak, just so long as I deliver the high. There's something honest and forthright about junkies and their urges. Megacorps, on the other hand, are rotten with hypocrisy.
Truer words have never been spoken.
No, they have not. Now let's get back to business, shall we? I have a wide variety of happy experiences for sale. I've got a family memory and a pill, are almost as good as a real thing, or a powder for those memories you'd rather forget. Whatever you might need, Handsome Lee is here to help.
Show me what you got.
I might want that. Plus 3 AP and... you know what? I'll take one of these. Yeah. Because that's like basically plus 20 hit points and a lot and more accuracy and everything for 75. I mean, plus 3 AP in a single turn is nice, but 150 is a little bit more than I'm willing to spend. So, yeah. What is this? Yeah, I might want to use that for a bit. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, I actually want to sell that, what was it? Bliss. I don't need strength being reduced, so, hey, I got... What a thought, selling the dealer the free stuff he gave to me. Okay, so we've been everywhere, or almost everywhere. Let's talk to Crafty, I guess. I seriously don't think she has anything, though. Yeah. I don't think there's anything here for me either. What is it? Life Siphon? You know what? I'm okay. I'll save up for the level 2 versions of those things. So basically, we've talked with everyone here, and done everything in town. Oh, we have not spent our karma yet, though. Okay, so I'm feeling that body should be upped a bit. I might up quickness. I don't know. I don't need any more of that. I don't need any more of that. I am also thinking, I mean, 11 karma points. I don't know. I'll think about it. But I do feel like I am getting hit quite a lot. We'll just leave it in body for now. Yeah. Alright, and also actually, what's our armor again? 3 armor? That's okay. No cyberware. Yeah, since I do use spells, it's usually for the best. It increases the cooldown in this game, it increases the cooldown time of your spells, and like I really don't want uh, like aim. It doesn't have a cooldown, but that has a cooldown at 3 turns. No, thank you. And mana bolt. I don't care about that. It's mainly heal wounds. I don't want to like have to wait more than 3 rounds to bring that up because that's a really good way to heal things. Let's at least figure out which mission we're gonna do. We have so many to choose from at the moment. Okay. Yeah, I know. It is a super goofy hat. I hate that it takes away the horns and the hairstyle, but I'll probably get an upgraded armor whenever I can get like 5 armor or something like that. And I think, wait a second. I think it also adds something to one of my stats, maybe? No, it doesn't. Not yet. There are armors that do that too, though. So, alright. I kinda think. Mm, I think the best thing to do is. It might be pretty hard, but actually going to DECCON, because that is basically Isabel's upgrade quest. If I'm remembering correctly, I might be wrong. But yeah, when we get that out of the way, then she'll be upgraded and we'll do better at the rest of these runs. Because I know this is a little annoying. I know that was stupid, if I'm remembering that one correctly. Also, this one, this is the reason why I want to get 6 charisma, because you gotta like bluff your way through all sorts of stuff. So that's why I'm kind of feeling like I should do that. So doing a couple of missions before this one should get us up to speed. So doing this one first to upgrade Isabel should be good. Yeah. By the way, you don't want to take Gaichu. Everyone gets freaked the fuck out because, hey, whatever. In this case, I do think I'll take Ractor. And we're supposed to be quiet, and basically between us three, we have the main skills covered. We have spell casting, we have decking, and we have drone control. So we'll do that. Actually, wait a second. I just want to read this. Oh, no. I want to see. Oh. It won't let me see the people. Oh, never mind. Fine. DECCON 2056. Charter bus carries you from Kai Tak to a mid-range hotel in Suwon. All around you, the happy chatter of your fellow passengers fills your ears. You hear tech speak in a variety of languages and dialects. Talk about new lines of drones and decks, arguments over innovations in data jack technology, and baseless speculation about the next season of Urban Brawl. Your guest badge, a glossy slip of laminate paper emblazoned with a flashy logo, hangs on a lanyard around your neck. You your ticket into the convention hall, and the only disguise that you should need. The bus drops you in front of the Harbor Spires Hotel, and you promptly circle around back to wait to find a service entrance. Isabel should be waiting for you inside. Alright, yeah, she has these things, so we do still have the guns and whatnot. Yeah, he has this little thing that can help with that. Looks so weird. Tourist entrance to the Harbor Spires Hotel looks like any other. Scuff walls coated in chip paint, a floor of well-worn hardwood, a time card. Well, actually, I'm just gonna. Okay, yeah. So we'll go ahead and quit this here because it should have. You know what? I probably should have made sure. It should have auto-saved. Let me double check. If not, I'll just do all this off stream much faster. So by the time we begin, we'll get this up and running. So just a second. If the game responds. Okay, there it goes. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it did. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, let me just double check one thing. Does this work? That does not work. I'm just trying to try something real quick. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and call it there because oh my gosh, lots of talking. We'll at least be able to start runs next time. Thanks for everyone for being patient over basically the story part of games like this. Like I said, I just want to leave the secret ending open for a possibility and stuff. But yeah, did a couple of good things. You know, helped a guy get off his drug habit, maybe go bomb some buildings and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, I love this stuff. Like I guess when I watch Twitch, there's a lot of people you know, the top people are like going, oh, blah blah blah, I'm like, whoa. And I'm kind of much more laid back than that, and these are the kind of games I do. So I know, yeah. But I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you kind of should have an idea of what to expect. But yeah, I gotta clean the house. I gotta get Jenna, and then I gotta make sure the dogs are happy. Maybe not necessarily in that order. Anyways, everyone, take care. I'll be back on Thursday. I think these are going to turn into like 3-hour streams for the most part. This is kind of a good stopping point. Like, it'll be 3 hours at the longest typically. So yeah, the combats are, I don't know, because this one is also not the next run, if I remember correctly, isn't going to be combat heavy. We do need to kind of sneak quite a bit, so we'll see how it goes. And this one might be one where I might have needed to get some diplomacy, because I think, if I'm remembering correctly, there's a point where you have to kind of, like, be Isabel's, like Isabel can't talk to people, and she gets stopped by some people, and you have to be her kind of, like, talking buddy. Like, from, well, there's plenty of movies that do. I just can't think of any offhand. So, anyways. Y'all take care, be careful, be safe, and again, like I mentioned earlier, just there's a lot of groups that could use support. Take a look online, see what you can do. Take care. Goodbye, Zils. Thank you.